boys and girls. It's Ron Bass with another edition of the Ron Bass Show, your source for several things. Mostly today, though, inspiration, a little bit of pop culture, and maybe a few rants, just for the fun of it. How about that?
Always good to have rants.
Speaking of rants, Mr. Brent Atterbury, our marketing guru. Well,
are you ranting about me?
Comedian, let's see, court jester, compadre. At any rate,
yeah,
we're all here today.
We're
going to have some fun. We're going to hopefully give some people some good advice and at least get their brain to thinking about some things. I was at the gym today, just got back, and a couple of my friends there today inspired me to bring some topics up. One of the topics is about weight. You know, people don't want to get big. They don't want to get heavy because it's just not healthy. And this friend of mine at the gym is super healthy, super fit, but she has a tendency of gaining weight, and she feels bad about that. And in our conversation, I said, well, hey, man, you've been coming in here for 20 years. You're very healthy. And because you gain a few pounds here and there, you cannot let that ruin your self-image. I mean, everybody has different genetics. And some people are prone to gain weight. Some people are less prone to gain weight. So I say that to say this, that if you have an eating issue and you don't want to gain weight or you don't want to put on the pounds, and it's a struggle to keep the weight off, I get it. My weight usually fluctuates 5, 6, 7, 8 pounds, up and down, depending on what I'm eating, depending on my lifestyle. But to me, it's not that big of a deal. The main thing is if you're working out, you're resting, you're eating right, you're not doing drugs, if you drink moderately, you're taking care of yourself physically. So you have, better blood pressure, your heart's better, your brain's working better, you've got energy. So if you don't have a six-pack, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Not everybody's going to have a six-pack. In fact, I've read articles to have a six-pack, you've almost got to get down to 5% body weight, something crazy.
Yeah.
Or take steroids or whatever. So, I mean, it's not like, I get it that people want to be popular, particularly when you're young. You want to be attractive. You want to be able to attract the opposite sex. You want to be able to look good. And I get all that. But really, it all comes down to the same thing. If you work out and you take care of yourself, that's a lot more important than having 5 or 10 pounds up or down either way, in my opinion. So I say that to say this. My friend at the gym, I want to encourage anybody out there that's got this self-image issue, don't worry about it. If you're working out, man, you're doing everything you should be doing. Eventually, you're probably going to figure it out, taking a little bit less sugar, a little bit less candy, whatever, and eat a little bit better foods. And you're going to level out, and then you're probably going to go back again, back and forth. That's just kind of the way it works in life. And I don't think there's anything that wrong with that. As long as you're working out, as long as you're not doing anything too stupid, I think you'll be just fine. So that's my friend at the gym. I wanted to mention that because I just left her, and she was discouraged. And I said, man, be your own best cheerleader. Pat yourself on the back. You're working hard every day. And this girl can do an hour on the Stairmaster. I mean, this girl's got great cardio, and she's probably 40-something years old, very pretty, very strong, but she's built, in a way that's probably prone to have this weight. She's got a structure that you can tell is easy to take weight on. And so, at any rate, you were going to say something.
Well, I was just going to say, so if you have a little bit of a belly, is that called a one-pack?
That's pretty good. I've never heard that before.
Because I've got a one-pack.
You got a one-pack?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll call it a one-pack.
Okay.
I can think of a whole lot worse scenarios than that. So you're doing fine. Don't worry about it, guys. Just keep following the rules.
Yeah.
We talk about following the rules all the time.
Yeah.
Eat right as best you can. Get some rest. Rest is super important, man. If you get 7 or 8 hours of sleep, your body's going to heal itself. Your brain's going to heal itself. You're going to recharge your batteries. You're going to be able to get up the next day and rock and roll and do your thing. And if you're not drinking and drugging, man, even that much better. So all you got to do is follow the rules. Be consistent. If you've got a goal, stay on it every day. Don't worry about if you're making a lot of progress or a little progress or no progress. Sooner or later, you are going to advance. And like I said, set that goal for 1 year, and at the end of the year, if you haven't reached it, reset it for another year. It's not the end of the world. As long as you're making effort, you're accomplishing something, and accomplishment's the drug. If you feel good, if you're accomplishing things, you're feeling good about yourself, that's going to build your self-image, your self-esteem, your confidence, You're going to look better, feel better, think better, be better, set a better example to others. Okay, my second friend in the gym today, I'm going to talk about two topics that she's inspired me to talk about. One is addiction, and the other one is relationships. This girl is very attractive, and she has gone through so much in her life to be that attractive girl. She works out every day. If you looked at her, it's like, oh, wow, this girl's so fit. Probably 45, 46 years old, and probably has the body of a 20-year-old. She had a boob job because she was pretty flat-chested, so she wanted to, make that part of her body look more attractive because most men like that. And she, but she had a big drug problem for years and years and years, and she was able to overcome all that. She got off the drugs. She got God in her life. She raised her son. Her husband divorced. I think he was probably a big part of the problem. And now she's just doing so good. But at the same time, this addiction thing propelled her, I think, to work on the self-image, which was cool. But then she got more into the idea that she couldn't be alone. She didn't want to be alone. She had to have a mate. So she keeps getting these boyfriends that are the wrong kind of boyfriends. And now she's struggling with that. So if it's not one damn thing, it's another, right? But the point I'm trying to make here is that you got to be, you can't go too far either way. I mean, you got to think about this. So it's cool to be attractive. It's cool to be popular. It's cool to look great. But at the same time, when you're trying to attract a mate, you got to think about who is that person I'm trying to attract. It better be somebody that's reliable, somebody that's sober, somebody that you can count on, somebody that's a good influence, because remember, you become who you surround yourself with. So if you're around a drug addict, guess what? You're probably going to struggle with some kind of drug addiction, or you're going to go through a lot of drama.
Yeah, honest. Got to be honest.
Got to be honest. Got to have good ethics, good morals, right?
Yep.
So this poor girl went through all this heck to get a guy, and now that she's got a guy, she's going through all this other heck because she picked the wrong guy. Now, how do you know for sure? You don't know for sure. But there's, you're not stupid. You can kind of figure when you meet somebody, get to know them a little bit, you can kind of tell what's going on here. And you can't just throw it under the rug. You've got to know that this is probably a bad choice or a good choice, and either continue or get the heck out.
Nip it in the bud.
Nip it in the bud. Wonder where that comes from. Nip it in the bud.
I heard it a lot on the Andy Griffith show. Don Knotts.
But where does it? I read an article about Don Knotts the other day.
Did you?
Yeah, he was a very successful guy.
Yeah, he was.
And I think his daughter's still alive. I think she wrote a book about him, or had an art, or did an interview about him recently. And Andy Griffith, he was some kind of actor too. Yeah. And then Ron Howard, who was a little boy, now he's a very big time Hollywood producer.
Yep.
That's crazy, huh? I remember when he was just a little kid. Now he's old man. Any rate, so I just thought maybe these two subjects would be something to throw out here today. And these are like people and people like this, I'm sure too. The girls that I'm talking about here, everybody out there's probably got a friend that's something like that, or that somebody that's similar to that, or maybe that's you. So you just can't be too careful, because in the end, if you make the wrong choice, man, it's going to come back to haunt you for a long, long time. What say you, sir?
Today is National Good Hair Day.
National Good Hair Day.
Yes.
That's great. Okay, for everybody out there, remember today's that you need to really work on your grooming today.
Yes.
Make sure your hair looks as good as possible. Speaking of hair, I read an article about hair loss. They're trying to clone. Because back in the day, you could put this stuff on your head and it would help grow the hair. But it's pretty marginal. And now they're trying to they've been working for 10 years, 20 years on cloning hair. So you can take one hair and you can create as much hair as you want to transplant into your head. I don't think that's happened yet. You would think with technology that we have today, if we've got AI and we've got robots, that surely they could figure that out. But it just hasn't happened yet to where I think they can do a little bit. But there'll probably come a time where that won't be an issue anymore for people. People spend a lot of money on baldness with toupees and salves and ointments and all that kind of stuff, and taking pills, and they'll buy snake oil. Like you go on the internet, oh yeah, if you take this pill, your hair is going to grow. It's just snake oil. Yeah. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
National Hair Day, huh?
Well, it's actually Good Hair Day.
Oh, Good Hair Day.
National Good Hair Day.
I got you. Well,
no, I was going to make a comment. Sorry,
yes.
I got off track there. But, Ron, you talk about her being attractive and she's wanting to be with boyfriends and then addiction comes into play. You've also got the opposite end of the spectrum, or people are not attractive or don't feel like they're attractive, but they are attractive in their own way.
Yes.
And it could be their personality, it could be their sense of humor, it could be how they communicate, and that could cause addiction. So it could be
well, you mean that would cause them to want to take drugs?
They feel because like they're not popular. They feel like they're not attractive.
And so the drug
they don't. So taking drugs makes them feel good.
Makes them feel good. And so everybody's chasing that feel good.
Yeah. So the addiction can be on either side.
And the funny thing about drugs and alcohol is that it starts off so innocent, but the devil takes over, and what happens is these drugs become so physically addictive, even much more than psychologically. You can't. I remember when I was taking pills, right, opiates, and you can't quit. It's like, oh, I need to put those down, and then you realize, oh heck, I don't feel good. I don't feel right. I have to have those. Okay, I'm going to take them again and again. Then it just. Speaking of that, we're going to talk about addiction a little more. Like, you've got a very good point. I think that's why a lot of people do drugs and alcohol, is because they just don't feel good about themselves.
Self-esteem, yeah.
So they take these drugs and alcohol, and it makes them feel better for a while, and then they feel more comfortable in their own skin.
Mm-hmm.
But why is it so hard to overcome? Why are these cigarettes and pills and meth and heroin, and why is it so hard to get off of these? Why is the rate of people going back to the addiction so high? What's your opinion on that?
I think because they feel like it feels good, and they also forget that they were feeling bad.
So it erases the pain. It erases the uncomfortableness.
When they stop, then all of a sudden they're feeling bad again. So that didn't work.
So I'm going back to that again.
Yeah. But I think also there is some addiction in some of the drugs that causes you to actually your body goes through something that is not fun, and it wants to have that again.
Well, there's a brain issue here. I've studied that says from what I've studied that the brain it just has to have it. I mean, it's just the way the chemistry is.
Mm-hmm.
So you just can't just like put it down and everything's okay. I know when I quit taking opiates, it was like a 6-month period before I felt okay again. So I think that's another piece of the puzzles, that people don't want to quit addiction because they know it's so uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they just say, well, I'm just going to stay on the addiction. I have another friend of mine that's, I'll talk about 2 friends. One friend has been on meth, so he's in his 40s, been on it since he's probably in his 20s. But he's a functioning addict. So if you met him and you saw him, you wouldn't necessarily know that he was taking it until he goes into these wild rants, and he goes off, and it's really sad. But I can tell it's taking a physical toll on him now, because he's having heart palpitations. He doesn't sleep well. He doesn't sleep. He sleeps at all, and he's tried to quit. I mean, dozens and dozens and dozens of times, and he goes right back to it because it's too uncomfortable. The body, the withdrawals are just so horrible.
Yeah.
A second friend of mine came to see me a couple of nights ago, came by my office. This guy's in his 50s now. He used to be my trainer when I was in my 20s. Or when he was 20s and I was probably in my 40s. He's probably 20 years older than me. And he used to be my physical fitness trainer. I would pay him to go to the gym and he would train me, and now he's just walking dead. I mean, he's been on drugs for so long and living on the street. It's so sad, but that's reality. And so another interesting part of the story is that while he was in my office, another friend of mine happened to be in the building with me. He's in the rehab business and rehabilitation business, and he walked in my office while that guy was in there and offered to give him a bed, get him some food, and help him to detox and so forth and so on. And he says, well, I'll come back in the morning at 9 o'clock and I'll take you up on your offer. Of course, he didn't come back.
No.
So that's another example of somebody that they just give up.
Yeah.
It's really, really sad. I can't think of anything more sad than that. But that's reality. And he's one of many, many, many people. I read an article of like 1,000 people a day commit suicide. I can see why. They reach a point where they just don't feel like there's any hope left at all. They're so down on themselves. They're so messed up physically, psychologically, financially, personally. They feel like there's no hope. And the easiest way out to rid themselves of their pain is to off themselves, which is sad, but at the same time, I get it. So hopefully way before you get to that point, if anybody out there like that, you recognize it and reach out to somebody, anybody that might be able to help you, a minister, a rabbi, a friend, a teacher, a brother, a sister, a neighbor, anybody that's somewhat sober and has have their life a little bit in order, and say, hey, I need some help, and hopefully go down that road and at least you got a shot.
Yep, I agree, 100%.
It's really sad, but that's just the way it is, man. There's a lot of sadness in the world. Another reason why you got to work out every day, to have thick skin, to be able to handle the pressures of life, because you're going to be challenged every single day, man. I don't care who you are.
Well, and we talk about this all the time, but surround yourself with good people. A lot of times, the people you're around can affect your behavior, your attitude, what you do, don't do, and it is so important to be around people that that are going to be a good influence.
Yes. So, I guess so. One other addiction I want to talk about: cigarettes. So when I was a little boy, my dad smoked, and I remember I would walk in like he would throw the cigarette butts down, and I would, when he'd leave, I'd take the cigarette butts and I'd light them up, smoke them. And that's how I got started when I was probably 11, 12, 13 years old. But back to the idea of influence, you're easily influenced by people that are close to you.
Yes.
And in the end, it killed my father. The lung cancer turned into liver cancer. And the doctor said very specifically it was from drinking and smoking. So I've got another friend that says, oh, well, my grandfather lived to be 104 and he smoked every day. Okay, but that's a rare deal. That's not like the average.
Yeah.
That's like maybe once in a while that'll happen. But for the most part, if you're drinking and smoking, hell, one of my employees, he's only 50, he's already had open heart surgery. He drinks and smokes, has for 20 years. And it's exactly why he wound up with heart failure at 50. Today we're together in the gym and he's talking about, he's trying to work out a little bit. And I said, man, you got to come in every day. You got to go to the gym. I mean, just make it part of your schedule. It's not like a big deal.
Treat it like a habit, like brushing your teeth.
And I'm in the gym and I'm taking phone calls from my company. I mean, I have to stop sometimes, take the call, write it down, put the phone back down. But it's better than not going in the gym. And then some days maybe the phone doesn't ring while I'm in the gym and I get a little bit better workout. But getting any workout is better than getting no workout. So there again, don't beat yourself up. Don't make it a big production. Don't make it like you go. Hell, I go in with my clothes on, with my tie on. And people say, what are you doing your tie on? Because it's just easier to go in, get my workout in, have my phone in my pocket, go back to my office. It's not a big deal. Sometimes I do jiu-jitsu at night this way. I don't even put on my gi, or I don't put on my shorts. But it's better than not going in. Yeah. Because I'm like, oh, I got too much going on and I'm just not going to go in tonight. No, just go in and do the best you can. Anyway, that's my advice. And I only speak from experience. I only tell you these things based on my life and how I've been able to handle pressures and stresses and challenges and conundrums and et cetera, et cetera. And so, not to sound like a broken record, but you got to work out. Hell, if you just walk every day, I have kettlebells in my office, swing some kettlebells. Just do something. I did burpees last night. I did 100 burpees. It's not like, the end of the world. You can break it into 10 or 20 reps per set and take a few minutes off between sets if you're gassed out, and just gradually build your numbers and just be consistent. Be consistent.
Yeah, I think I told you this quite a while ago, but my doctor told me that if I walked, and he told me this like 10 years ago, he goes, if you walk 30 minutes a day, he said you should be able to add another 3 years onto your life.
Nice.
So, I mean, just hearing that,
it
makes you say, well, okay, well, I can live a few more years if I just walk.
Yeah. and for a few more years of quality of life. It's not just like,
Right.
like when you're sick and you're old, it's one thing, but when you're old and you're healthy,
Yeah.
that's a different gig.
Yeah.
And we all know people like that. People that are old that are doing great, independent. People that are old that are sick and in bed and not doing well. So take your pick. When you're young, you think that life's going to last forever, but it does not. And you have to get with it, guys. So, at any rate, so much for all that. Okay, so let's get into a little bit of pop culture, a little bit of rant, maybe. So this is one of my favorite pet peeves. I go in the post office the other day, and I've been doing this for this is like the 20th year I go into the post office to the lobby, and I use their self-service machine. And I'm telling you, at least 50% of the time, the effing machine does not work. It'll say something like updating, or sorry, you'll have to go to the counter today because the machine, just something. The idea is that those effing machines, for all the money we've got in this government to buy things that are supposed to work, they don't work half the time. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, the whole idea is to provide convenience.
What
to the
machines are you
consumer.
talking about? Are they
The
stamps?
self-service, the stamp machine and the postage machine.
Okay.
Where you can go in there and, weigh your stuff out and get your postage, like a
Okay.
first-class envelope,
Okay.
or buy postage. So then you look up and there's like 50 people in line. And here's this machine that says, sorry, I can't help you right now.
I know why.
Give me a break.
I know why.
Why?
It's ran by the government.
That's it, man. The government is run so inefficiently, so ineffectively.
Yeah.
I remember when Trump would talk about, he said, we should hire FedEx or UPS to run the post office because I guarantee it would be run efficiently. And he's right.
He's right.
They just throw money at stuff and they don't, the way they manage things, it's just horrible. Makes no sense to me. But I guess it's better than living in a third world country, huh?
Yes.
All right. Okay, anti-aging. This is a big industry and getting bigger all the time. People that have big money, like some of the richest people in the world, are investing in these startup companies to find ways to reverse aging, not just make you live longer, but to get you back to youth again. And they've actually come up with some pretty interesting successes so far in animals. And they feel like within a few years, you're going to be able to get a vaccine. I'm serious. That will reverse aging. That's crazy, isn't it? But it's happening as we talk right now. This is the kind of world we're living in right now. And from a money point of view, from a business point of view, obviously that's huge. Remember when Viagra first came out, how big that? I don't know how much money those companies made, but they must have made gazillions and gazillions and gazillions of dollars, because for men not to be able to perform, sex was a big deal, and to be able to take a pill to where you could do that again, I mean, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
Particularly for old guys, right?
Yeah.
Even young people.
It's huge.
It's a huge industry, right? So this anti-aging thing is going to become really big. So they think, like I say, or maybe you could take a pill. There's also things going on other than that side of the fence, like things like blood transfusions, where you can pay like a whole lot of money to get a young blood in your body in a transfusion. That's supposed to make a difference. They're working on all kinds of different foods that you could be able to take. It's just a big industry. It's a big business. It's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, obviously.
Yeah, I think all it is, Ron, is just things to make you healthier so you will live longer.
Well, but this is
But
a
you
different.
can't go backwards.
This vaccine is a whole different kind of thing. They've got it down to the cell, to where they found out in the cell what makes the body age, and they found a way to turn that off. And I'm telling you, if you'll study it and read about it, it's coming. I read another article that coffee is also an anti-aging thing, because there's something in the coffee itself. That's why I drink a lot of coffee and a lot of caffeine.
A lot of root beer. What's that make you do? Go to the bathroom?
Yeah, I go to the bathroom. I was telling Brad the other day, when you get old, you got to pee all the time. It's the craziest thing ever, man. And it doesn't make any sense, because you think that you're emptying your bladder and everything's fine, and then 10 minutes later you got to go pee again. It's crazy. and I take saw pimento, which is a natural supplement that's supposed to curb a lot of that. So I'm thinking, what would happen if I didn't take that out? Would it be even worse, right?
Yeah.
But then I said to myself, hey, it could be a whole lot worse. So I'm not going to complain, although I'm going to rant a little bit just because.
Could be all the root beers you're drinking every day.
Oh, that must be it. Let's see, what else do I want to rant about that's on my brain right now? Oh, the 7-year itch. So almost every day somebody comes into my office and complains about their marriage and their relationship. And I studied this 7-year itch thing. They say that the brain after 7 years, somehow the romance gets turned off. And you're no longer as physically attracted to your partner. And that's what they call the 7-year itch. And that's when a lot of divorces start happening. Okay, I mean, I get it that the marriage should be a lot more than just romance, but when you're young, I suspect that's like a big part of it, right? So then you wind up with people sleeping with other people, and then you gets into a bigger mess, and oh boy, go down that rabbit hole. That gets pretty crazy. Okay, one last rant, and then how are we doing on time?
I don't know.
Let's check our time.
Let's check our time.
I don't want to bore people too much.
26.
Oh, wow. Well, we're going to wrap it up then. One last rant, and then we're going to wrap it up. So the vending machine thing. So first of all, bottle versus can. What happened to the can? I can't even hardly find a can in a convenience store. I mean, there's nothing like drinking a 12-ounce can of soda pop. Now you got to buy this huge bottle. So when you put the money in or put your card to the machine, the contactless, and the bottle drops, it's like something that you think it fell off the roof. Bam! And then when you open it up, what happens? Hell, it goes everywhere. I mean, how hard is it to understand that and to not let that be the case? Let's go back to some basic cans, and let's figure it out to where they don't have to drop that far, so they don't have all the carbonation, so you don't get soda pop all over your lap and your shirt and your floor, and you get the idea. Is that fair?
I think it's fair.
Okay. Thought I'd throw that out there. One of my pet peeves. So they drink a lot of soda pop, which is probably not very smart because you will put on weight. But for me, what happens, if I drink a pop in the afternoon, it gives me enough energy to kind of get through the afternoon where I don't eat a whole lot and get sleepy.
Yeah.
And then when dinner time comes around, it's like I can eat a bigger meal. And but if I eat in the afternoon, I'm taking a nap, which is not good when you're busy.
No.
You're answering phones and
That's
dealing with
right.
people in your office.
That's right.
Okay, closing thoughts, sir, before we get out of here?
No, I'm just glad I'm not P. Diddy.
My God, that's a whole other story. They raided his house in two of his mansions.
Yeah.
California and Florida, I think.
Yeah.
That's sex
That's
charges
the pop
and
culture.
sex trafficking.
I don't know what's
I mean,
happening.
look, you're innocent until proven guilty, but who knows what's going on there? I mean,
Yeah.
it may just be all scam too.
That's right.
But man, have they gone after that guy?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We'll see how it all shakes out.
Man, well, that's our entertainment news for today.
That's right.
Okay. I had to throw a little bit of entertainment in there. Okay, guys. Well, look, just remember, if you don't give up, and you should never give up, the stars, eventually, they will line up. So, until next time, always stay positive.
Yeah.